Welcome to the training, and this is how to sign 2K online fitness clients off LinkedIn so you can add a second income stream and reduce your face-to-face hours by 1/3. And that's without losing income. Indeed, with this new high-ticket online revenue stream, you can hit your first 8 to 10K income months, and you can do this without losing the security of the face-to-face PT that you enjoy currently. Now, in this short training, I'm going to talk about how you can actually hit those 8 to 10K months without eating into family time. And the best part of this works even for PTs who aren't the most tech savvy in the world. Now, by the way, if you are a personal trainer who does more than 25 hours a week, I'm going to actually give you one very specific insight into launching your high ticket online coaching program, which could mean the difference between wasting months of effort without any return and instead using this training to sign 2K online clients using LinkedIn. Now, let me start by telling you about what I've coined the LinkedIn pivot and really how this affects busy personal trainers with a busy personal training roster. Because I would say about 3 or 4 years ago, LinkedIn had this big pivot. It used to be, and you probably know this, it used to just be all about CVs. And they decided at some point that they were actually going to compete more with a sort of Facebook. And so LinkedIn decided to reposition to be more of a sort of classical social media platform and not just about CVs and resumes. Now, of course, unfortunately, marketers ruin everything. If you know Gary Vee, that's one of his famous saying. And they did a Bum Rush the Show, which is a Public Enemy album, by the way, if you're my age. But they Bum Rush the Show. Everyone ended up in LinkedIn. Now, bots also got involved, which made it even more of a saturated place. And these bots are commonplace. So we do need to understand both the benefits and the things that we would see as a challenge when we move into LinkedIn in 2024, 2025. So, listen, LinkedIn has changed a lot. And to be honest, the old ways just don't work anymore, certainly like they used to. And that means endlessly spamming people in their DMs in the first message that you send to people, endlessly following up and almost getting ignored in the inboxes. Now, to be honest, most busy personal trainers don't have the time to do this anyway. And to be honest, I don't think a lot of them have the inclination also. So here's what we're going to do instead when launching a high ticket online coaching program. We need to utilize a two-pronged online high ticket launch sequence, and this is really important to get your head around. Now, listen, if your aim here is that in the next 90 days you want to hit $25,000-$30,000 months, to be honest, I'm probably going to lose you at this point, because this is not what this training is about. This training is about an understanding of how to start LinkedIn, how to start getting high ticket clients off there, and what you need to do in your business as a whole to get it launched, and perhaps bring some of your one-to-one hours down so it does free up more time, say in the afternoon, to be able to work on your business, on your online presence. What do we do in the High Paid Health Coach? I want to give you 3 things straight away. We launch a case study sequence, a case study launch sequence. We get to market as quick as possible for what I call the 3 C's. I will come back to them. And this can be done within all the constraints of a busy face-to-face client roster, family and responsibilities. And obviously, as PTs, as I was one, our own training, our own eating, and our own learning. So what does this actually look like? Well, we run concurrent, albeit slightly staggered launches. And let me tell you exactly what that looks like. Now, listen, I will show you this, but first of all, what I want to do is, if you're doing, say, 25 plus paid hours a week of face-to-face, you have a family or relationship at the very least, and you have massively limited headspace, let me quickly ask you this. If in 90 days you had your first 10 high-paying clients, you had an extra 10 to 15K, all from this second income stream of online, in a new way of earning money in your business, and you are confidently running happy clients through a totally new way of delivering your knowledge, would you be happy with that situation? because it's an important question. That would be, say, 3.5 to 5K per month on average extra in your bank account. That is totally doable within your current work schedule. And then you've got a roadmap plan when you're doing that to hit those 8 to 10K months consistently over the next 12 months within the two income streams together. And it's always like, would that be a good situation to find yourself in? Because again, 50, 30, 50K launches in the next 60 days without working more than 20 minutes a day, without needing to build anything. You can do this even if you have zero work ethic and zero marketing skills, blah, 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 right? Listen, I think most of the marketplace nowadays, your experience, you've been doing this for a while, you're probably not your first rodeo of listening to over-promising by marketers on the internet. And honestly, the likelihood of these things happening by personal trainers that haven't been professional marketers for 10 years is very low, and you probably know that anyway, right? So here's how I suggest you do this, and remember, this is important. Money loves speed. That was one of the things that my first mentor, Glenn, told me. He also talked to me about this, the 3 C's: cash, confidence, and clients, and getting those quick. And within that, I mean making your first high ticket sales within 2 to 3 weeks. So your first high ticket sales within 2 to 3 weeks. And what does that look like? We go out with a soft launch, and a soft launch is like a case study launch. Some people call it that. Some people even call it a beta. Right? We do it in sort of 2 places. First of all, we use the bucket, the arena, the area to current socials, current audience, old and ex-clients, current clients who maybe need more help, people who are already in your network and know something about you. And we do this with the combination of using Facebook, some emails, whether that's direct emails or an email list, and SMS, direct messages. And we also at the same time start the LinkedIn process. So I know, Tim, the people that you're talking about in that other bucket, they're not execs. And Tim, I certainly don't know people who will pay me 2K for a 12-week online program. And look, that's fine. Honestly, I know. So what I'm going to suggest, look, just stay with me. I've been doing this for a while. The soft launch is the initial launch to people in your current network, current audience, is about pace, getting to market. And to be honest, it's about practicing this new way of working. If you try and put this in front of people and you've never worked online, or you've never worked with high ticket, or you've never worked with online coaching, it can be a bit more difficult to get traction. So let me give you an example. This is Gavin, literally working on some of content around Gavin in the last few days. And this was using LinkedIn to go from 50 hours per week to a 6-figure online coach. And this is exactly how Gavin did it. And in the long term, he had a lot of success on LinkedIn, but he also used this 2-pronged approach. In fact, this was literally a cut and paste out of the content of the testimonial that I was doing. I remember my first online sale like it was yesterday. We had to jump on FaceTime and thought this is going to go badly. Then she asked, how much is it? I said $1,200, which in dollars is about $1,500. She said, okay, let's do this. The sale went through and I was jumping for joy. And this is the outcome. Gavin uses LinkedIn to go from 50 hours per week of PT to a 6-figure online coach. It did not happen overnight. He was getting initial clients from his current network while he was also inside LinkedIn, building up his network, building up his content, building up his goodwill to the marketplace. So listen, Tim, I don't know. Okay, look, I get that. I get that I kind of can get some warm fruit here. And then I want these executive clients around that will pay me that 2K. And no one I know would pay me that, right? And look, this is where the genius part of this launch sequence is. And let me do the maths. This is what I call my demand-driven pricing. So look, this is probably some of the biggest value you'll get from this training. Now, in the next 90 days, if you can envisage this, focus on the initial 10 clients. Okay, sometimes people find that hard and they jump forward. But my advice always when you're doing this, when you're launching with a new way of working, is focus on the initial 10 clients. The first 3 clients, they come in at $1,200. The next 3 clients, they come in at $1,500. The next 3 clients that come in at $1,800. And you can see every time you make 3 sales, you put the price up by $300. This is exactly what we do in the High Paid Health Coach. And then on your 10th client, it should say client there, not clients, but on your 10th, 11th, 12th, you're up to the 2K. Now, the magic with this is if you actually look at the numbers on that, yes, it might be that straight away people aren't going to pay you 2K. It might be that your first couple of clients, they pay you a little bit less. And it might be that your 10th client is the time that you finally hit that 2K. Maybe that client comes off LinkedIn, right? But over time, on those numbers, my maths is slow, so I use my calculator, but that would be 15,500 over the next 90 days on a launch. And most experienced personal trainers tell me that they would be over the moon with that. I guess this is what it looks like, right? The first time, the first chunk of your energetics is quick, fast, cash, clients, and confidence. So quick, fast, cash, clients, and confidence. And over time, you build out this new LinkedIn network. You're making money, you're practicing, while building up to be able to get these types of clients. Now, what you need to understand today about using LinkedIn, because look, there are still 5 key steps to getting started on LinkedIn. Most personal trainers that I speak to, most experienced personal trainers, they're in the gym. They're not the biggest fan of social media, put it that way. They certainly don't want to be dancing on TikTok, and they, showing their ass or their guns or their abs on Instagram isn't kind of where they want to be, and they don't actually want to be competing with those kind of insta famous influencers. So the idea of going to something like LinkedIn actually seems quite good. Yeah, it's not the same sort of salesy. You're not selling your soul. You're not, again, dancing on stupid videos, right? So they know they want to be there, but often they're kind of dabbled on Facebook, maybe again on Instagram, but they maybe don't actually use LinkedIn. And maybe they've got a profile. Maybe you have a profile. You've just not used it. So look, 5 key steps to get started. They are: start a profile today if you don't have one. You have to go to niche. You've got to go niche. By the way, and I'm going to come to this, if, for instance, your niche is stay-at-home mums, this video and this whole content is probably not right for you, and I'll tell you why. You need to pimp the profile. You need to use the most pinpointed organic search function on any social media platform. I'm going to explain that, and the importance of having one option and one price point so you don't overcomplicate your business when you're doing this launch. Remember, you probably don't have 12 hours a day working on your laptop sitting on a beach in Thailand to be able to build this extra income. I'll break these down. Right, number 1, start a profile today. So literally go and start a profile. Right, get off this training and go and do it at the end of the training, obviously. Right, you want to book out 1 to 2 hours a week to start this, like consistency over time. You might not have time to do it every day, just consistency over time. If you have a profile, just start booking out the time out of your diary at the beginning of the week to spend time building your profile there. You want to put, minimum content once a week. Look, ideal, you would do it more than that. But lots of people just don't have the time when they're in the gym. Again, consistency over time. And if you are using Insta or Facebook, you can repurpose what you're doing already. So you can repurpose what you're doing on those and just copy and paste that into LinkedIn. Now, got to go niche. When you're in person, you don't have to really be niche. It's not the most important thing. In fact, it's not a you do it and you succeed, or you don't do it and you don't succeed. And we're kind of in that sort of realms online. To stand out, you have to have a niche. You have to speak to a certain type of client. If you just speak to everyone, you're going to speak to no one. I've been doing this for about a decade now, and I've lost count of the times where this is one of the most important things that we move on when someone adds an online business or an online income stream. So listen, if your niche is stay-at-home mums, you probably want to go somewhere else. The way that I do this inside the program is we go niche, then we go avatar, and then we go audience. And what I mean by that is niche. Who's the type of client that you want to work with? We understand that. Then we create like a representation of that client. It's like an avatar, it's a character description. And then we go and build an audience. Now, you probably, being here, you probably want execs, clients. All right. So I'm assuming that you would have already decided that. Now, obviously, you need to understand your niche. You need to create this avatar, and then you know you're in the right place with LinkedIn if you want executive clients. Now, you need to be more niche than in person, for sure. I would personally advise you very strongly to go male or female. Now, in the gym, I did a bit of both. I did kind of coin myself more towards the women. Certainly at one point, I called myself a female weight loss specialist. It worked. I still worked with men for a bit in the gym. Now you're starting a new profile, a new platform. It might as well be that, you know what, you fill your network and your audience with male or females, because there's plenty of people to fill your profile. There's plenty of people on LinkedIn. There's hundreds of millions. You might as well decide and start now. I would also go 7 to 10 years wide. So I wouldn't go, I work with men 30 to 50. Like someone in their 30s is very different to someone in their 50s. So I would think about it like between sort of 7 years. Might be like 37 to 45. Or might be like 45 to sort of 52, 55, that kind of thing. So number 3, pimp the profile. Right, you need a job role on there. Kind of like it would have your name, obviously, but then it will be like job title, job role. Behavior change coach, or online transformation coach, or online fitness coach, fitness expert, whatever you want to call it. I probably would avoid online personal trainer. 1 sentence offer, and you'll put that underneath it. I guess the basic one is often an I help statement. I help certain executives do X, Y without Y, Z. There's obviously more complicated ones or more sophisticated ones, but that's the general gist. About section, you want to put a banner. Look, at the moment, in an ideal world, would you go and get something professionally designed? When I first started doing this sort of stuff, like Canva didn't exist in the sort of way it does now. Canva is good enough. And again, you see at the bottom there, good enough is good enough. Canva is definitely good enough to get a good quality banner. Get a decent headshot. Don't have something like you growling or like, probably like my hair's a little bit messy now. But in all seriousness, have something that if you can, have it professional. If not, get a decent iPhone and get decent lighting. That's often the thing that makes the biggest amount of difference. Get your Mr. or your Mrs. to take a new one if you don't have something. Now, again, I will just go back. Good enough is good enough. Get moving and get growing. Now, using the second connection function. So this is some of the magic in LinkedIn. So I want you to listen up to this part because this is really important. If you've not used LinkedIn, this would be like, oh my God, that's just genius. So the way that LinkedIn works is you can search amongst other things, but I'm going to start with this by first connection, second connection, and third connections. First connections are people you're actually connected with. Third connections are people who are connected with you that are connected with someone else. So it's almost like that 6 steps from Kevin Bacon. It'd be like 3 steps. The second connections is where the gold is, because you and this person that you're trying to connect with have a person in common, and the likelihood that they will accept your connections goes up the more second connections you have. Second connections you can also message, which is why we want to try and connect with them on LinkedIn. You can't connect with third connections. You can't message third connections. So what we want to do when we first go into LinkedIn, I guess 2 concentric circles. What do I mean by this? When I first started a LinkedIn profile back in the day when I was a fit pro in Fitness First in Liverpool Street, I made sure that I added all of my old clients, anyone that was a current client, because it was more likely that their friends would connect with me because I was connected with them. And that was always a good way to kind of start conversation. Oh, you're connected with my client, blah, blah, blah. Now, what I also did is, and some of this was a crossover, by the way, because of the companies that were near where I worked. I also looked at like 2 big companies that were near where my gym and location was. Not because I wanted them in the gym, but just because I thought I'd have some connections there anyway, and I knew of the companies. UBS was huge. They employed tens of thousands of people at the time, so was ICAP. And the reason this is a benefit is if you imagine that you've got 30 friends in common with someone compared to if you've got 100 friends, and a lot of those people are connected with a company that you actually work with, and someone tries to connect with you on LinkedIn, you'll probably, to be honest, a lot of this is done without thinking. It's subconscious. It's just yep, no. If you see someone that's got 200 friends in common with you at the company that you work for, you're probably more likely to accept a request from that person. And people build connections on LinkedIn. That's what it's about. So the idea of connecting is way more encouraged than it would be on something like Facebook. So if you work, say, where you know there's a big company which will be full of your kind of clients you want to work with, start building out from that concentric circle as well as your old clients. Now, if that company is like, I don't know, a steelworks, it might not be the best company. If it's a big law firm or a big accountancy firm, then you're in business, right? You can search for, and by the way, this is useful, you can search by location, you can search by job role, CEO, founder, startup, lawyer, accountant. You can also search by job level, so board level, CEO level, executive level. You can search by keyword. You can search by education, where they went to college or school. Again, if you went to a decent college or a decent school, I mean, I didn't, but if you did, that might be one of those concentric circles that I don't know, let's go full pelt, right? If you went to Harvard, look, if you did, happy days, just go and add and search via Harvard. You know what? People see that you went there and they'll connect with you. Even if you went to a decent university in England, say, I don't know, Cambridge, Oxford, I don't know, Durham, wherever, York, these kind of things, you can build it out like that. But the best thing is the function there is the search function is incredibly powerful. So, number 5, we look at one option, one price point. I do speak to a lot of fit pros and they say they're going to launch 3 different options. One's like a 97, one's a 47, one's a 2,500. I'm going to do like low, medium, high ticket. Look, the reality is that's a hard job to make work when you're a professional marketer. When you are also working in the gym 20 hours a week, that's very, very, very time consuming and very difficult. My suggestion is you have one price point and one option. And for me, that one price point and one option should solve all of these people's problems within your program. The reality is, if you're going to sell them a $97 program, it's probably not going to solve their problems, right? And yes, I understand the ascension, but the reality is that is going to be very hard and it's going to take quite a long time to get any traction, especially with limited time. And especially if you're not an expert marketer, which the likelihood is most personal trainers aren't. So look, these guys just also don't want to pay $97 for a 14-day kickstart. Like, they've got money, like, what they don't have is time. They certainly don't want to be in your free 5-day challenge, right? Put everything in a program to solve their biggest problems once and for all and charge applicably for that. And I'm biased, that's why behavior change coaching is perfect for executive clients, because they have money, they are time bound and time limited, and they will spend good money if they believe that their problems can be solved and solved for the long term. I had clients, and by the way, I'm going to show you in a minute. This is unicorn shit, but I just want to make a point of it. I've had clients charge $5,000 for 12 weeks off LinkedIn. In fact, I've had quite a lot of clients do that. Now, again, I'm not suggesting that you start there. I've already told you where I think you should start. But just so you know, the high ticket does work. You don't need a lot of clients. Even if we bring it all the way back and take some shiny off from Gavin's 5 grand paid in full LinkedIn. By the way, he said now the aim is to get 10 of these a month. He didn't get 10 of them a month, by the way, but you know what? It's a great place to be when you can charge, look, anywhere near that. And I'm going to bring it all the way back to 2K. You can just get 2 clients a month at 2K. Add that into your personal training income. You probably make what? Minimum of 3. If you don't make that much, you probably need to work on that. Maybe you make like 4, 5, 6 in $1,000. If you can match that from another revenue stream, and you've got 2 revenue streams making you $4,000 to $5,000 a month, you are in a very good place, and that would equate to $8,000 to $10,000 per month. Over 12 months, you're definitely hitting that 6-figure mark, or you're just touching it. So listen, I hope you found that useful. What to do next? This is the High Paid Health Coach. I'm Tim Drummond. So what would you do? Look, if you're feeling unfulfilled, if you're not growing, and you know that your income is capped by the essence of how much you can charge in your local gym, and to be honest, you don't want to work any more hours. And even at the moment, you probably want to drop your hours by a third. If you look at the current business model that you've got, and you do want to hit 8 to 10K months, probably the only way you could do it is by working like 60, 70 hours a week. And most fit pros in their 40s with a family, they want to work less, not more. So listen, here's the thing you can do. You can book a call, speak to me about the High Paid Health Coach. This program is not about doing a 50 grand launch in 30 days without doing blah, blah, blah. It's none of that, right? It's about adding a extra 10 to 15K in new income over the next 90 days, simply by inserting a second income stream into your current face-to-face business. If you would like to at least have a conversation about that, you can book a call with me. There will be a link around this video. If this video is on YouTube, there will be a link down below in comments. If you click through to that link, you will be able to see my diary. You'll be able to book a 15-minute call with me. To be clear, there's nothing for sale on this call. It's not some heavy sales pitch. It's actually, first of all, just to figure out whether what we do would vibe with where you are, where the business is, what your aims are. I have qualifications. You need to have been in the industry for at least 5 years. Generally, most of my clients are going to be over 35. You're not wanting to go and live on a beach in Thailand and work 14-hour days. As I say, you'd be very happy to be able to hit some really good consistent income over time from these 2 incomes, the more expansive, higher ticket online, and that security from keeping some of your current in-person. You probably enjoy it still, but certainly bringing it down to a more manageable. Maybe it's 3 days a week in the gym instead of 5. Listen, you can book a call. It will be around here. If that's not where you are and you just want to kind of come along for the ride and keep seeing my content, please do. The big takeaway, if you're someone who's not going to book a call, is go and start your LinkedIn right now. Guys, thank you so much and see you soon.